can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. This is an article from RaptureReady.com entitled World Events Right Now in Clear Perspective by Ron Ferguson. I wanted to read some excerpts from this article, and I pray this encourages you. Those of us who examine world events try to do so with an eye on where they might be headed and if they could have some bearing on the groundwork being laid in this world leading to the rapture. There are no prophets. We just try to make sense of what we understand at any point in time. That understanding might change or be refined only a few months down the track. Those who try to be dogmatic about these matters, I think, are a bit suspect. We see through a glass dimly. Some think and speak about World War III because of what the insane president of Russia is doing. Putin is a demonic man. Those who are not for Christ are against him. Putin is not a normal man outside of Christ, but he is a man under the control at this time by Satan. I'm not talking in terms of what was the case with Judas, but in a similar vein. I have no doubt Putin is possessed by the devil, Satan's man. However, I do not think there will be a great extension of warfare outside of this current sphere in the Ukraine. Remember, we are not prophets, but one can have a conviction about events. Nevertheless, NATO and Europe are preparing for conflict. So let's look at that. When the church departs, there has to be this infrastructure in place for what is to follow the rapture. I believe that infrastructure is now in place. The world is heading for a mess. It won't be long, if the Lord tarries, before many nations degenerate into chaos. The fuel prices, the cost of living due to inflation, and the insane abolition of reliable power sources through the influence and agenda of the extreme green environmental socialists in the name of climate change, the growing public resentment of people with their governments, all work towards mismanagement, riots, and revolution. Governments in the Western world are almost incapable now of functioning properly. In the communist world, they are becoming more dictatorial, and in the Islamic world, more militant and reactionary. I am not being dramatic. We might say the world is on the verge of something, and the bubble will burst. At the least, the graves will burst open as the church goes home in the twinkling of an eye. The chaos will be unleashed, or would have been so if it were not for a Superman endowed with such power and ability to stop it. That one is the world leader, our Antichrist, if you like, and the European who will turn things around. He comes on a white horse, white the color of peace and absence of blood. He will be honored and revered and virtually worshipped. I think he must be in the world today, but he is not revealed as the Antichrist. That comes later. Let us recap. The world is on the brink, as some people describe it, sitting on a precipice. When the church is removed, a man of exceptional ability will seemingly solve these problems. The world desperately is looking for someone to make things right, someone who is a man of peace and negotiation. Many organizations qualify for that role. The European Union, NATO, the World Economic Forum, the United Nations. When he comes, he is seen as one who will put it all together, but God has other plans. When the seals are broken, the first seal reveals the world leader, the Antichrist. So it is useless and time-wasting to try to identify a possible candidate, as it will be post-rapture. Then, when the world is seemingly at peace under the control of the charismatic world leader, the red horse rides forth. Peace is removed from the earth. It is interesting that this is in the passive voice. It is deliberately removed. But who removes it? See the rider on the red horse, the second seal. You can observe that to be the Lord himself or Satan or whatever, but it is removed. It is outside the power of Antichrist to prevent it. Then there will be outbreaks of war everywhere. Speaking of the very time after the rapture, the Lord said to the Jewish believers, "You will be hearing of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not frightened, for those things must take place, but the end is not yet." I believe that at the time of war, the Antichrist will do valiantly, for this is said of him. Revelation 13 verse 4, "They worship the dragon because he gave his authority to the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, 'Who is like the beast, and who is able to wage war with him?'" All over the world, there are going to be wars and conflicts. My take on this is that it will be A. Wars of revenge. The simmering hatred for past events and atrocities will be the catalyst. B. Wars of racial nature. The world is filled with racial hatred and it will explode. C. Territorial wars. Nations will want to retake lost territory. D. Expansionist wars. This is what China wants, for it wants to rule Asia and then the world. And E. Civil wars. I think these will be common because of ethnicity, race. Africa used to be dominated by lots of racial and tribal wars before European settlement. I think the U.S. could be a prime candidate for that after the rapture. So he goes on to say, the armies of the world are armed to the teeth and itching for the war games to begin. I don't think they have to wait long. In order to have a full acceptance by the world for the Antichrist, you need to have the following conditions. Number 1, something chaotic in the world. The rapture will do this. Number 2, a softening of the people so they are prepared to follow and a herd mentality to accept the Antichrist. Corona mandates have done that, and ever-increasing restrictions and forced regulations on people. This is how Australia runs now. Number 3, worldwide dissatisfaction with governments. All over the world we have that. Discontentment will result in wars and conflicts and a desire to find someone to solve these problems. Number 4, a number of potential flashpoints around the globe. We have that now, and once restraint is removed, military conflicts overflow. Number 5, the dumbing down of true education in the pursuit of excellence. Number 6, the dissemination of false and fake news. Nearly all the younger generation connects with Facebook and Twitter as their information source. Those platforms are evil and diluted. Number 7, a general observation shows an aversion to the good in society, but an acceptance of all that is vile. Number 8, there is an uncertainty of product supply and worldwide trade. It is worsening. This causes national and international tensions. One man appears after the rapture the world will look to solve the problems. Number 9, the cost of living is soaring, as is inflation. Because fools have closed the usual power generation and taken to windmills and hydrogen and green energy, it's all going to get worse. And number 10, the world has lost a true sense of reality and social interaction and runs after fantasy such as the gaming industry, movies, and all manner of computer and phone interactions. Christians do not need to fear these things, though they disturb us. We are in the Lord's hands. And the world is also in the Lord's hands, though some doubt it at times. Please, Lord Jesus, come with your great command, come up here.